The hospital hallway felt like ice against my skin. I lay on the stretcher, trembling so hard my teeth chattered. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, making everything feel unreal. Nurses rushed past, their shoes squeaking on the polished floor. I was 24 years old and waiting for emergency surgery that could save my life. Then I heard her voice cutting through the chaos. Mom burst through the double doors, but her face wasn't filled with worry. It was twisted with anger. "Lana, I can't stay," she announced, not even touching my hand. "Tate needs me. There's a business deal happening right now that will save our entire family. My brother's deal. Always his deal." I tried to speak, but my voice came out as a broken whisper. "Mom, please. The surgery. He needs this, Lana. You'll understand later." She turned toward the exit, her heels clicking away from me. The doctors started wheeling me toward the operating room. Through my tears, I watched her back disappear through those doors. She never looked back once. When I opened my eyes, the recovery room was empty. No flowers, no balloons, no family sitting beside my bed, waiting for me to wake up. Just white walls and the steady beep of machines monitoring my heartbeat. My throat felt raw, my body ached everywhere. I'd survived, but I'd done it alone. A nurse with kind eyes came to check my vitals. She hesitated before speaking. "Your mother refused to sign some additional consent forms earlier. It delayed your procedure by almost an hour. We were worried." Her voice dropped lower. She said she had somewhere more important to be. The words hit harder than any physical pain. I could have died on that table. The delay could have killed me, and they weren't even here to know if I'd made it through. My phone finally buzzed on the side table. I grabbed it with shaking hands, hoping for an apology, or at least concern. Instead, Mom's text read, "You ruined everything for Tay today. Do you know how selfish that was?" 2 weeks later, I dragged myself home, still weak from surgery. The apartment door stuck like always, and I pushed through with my shoulder. Inside, I froze. Cardboard boxes filled my bedroom, stacked floor to ceiling. My clothes were shoved into garbage bags in the corner. Mom looked up from her coffee. "Oh good, you're back." Tate needed storage space for his inventory. "You can sleep on the couch until you start contributing rent." She said it so casually, like she was discussing the weather. "This is my room, Mom. I've been paying rent here for 3 years, and Tate's business is supporting all of us now. Be grateful." That night, Tate came home late. I confronted him in the kitchen. "Did you really need my room, or could you have rented storage?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. That's when Mom appeared behind me. "Actually, Lana, we used your surgery deposit money. Tate needed emergency capital for the deal." I packed what little I had left into 2 suitcases. My hand still hurt from the stitches, but I kept moving. I couldn't stay in that apartment another night, even if I had nowhere to go. As I zipped the second bag, my phone rang. Mrs. Asha's name appeared on the screen. "Lana, I heard about what happened at the hospital. Are you alright?" My old biology teacher's voice cracked with genuine concern. I broke down completely, telling her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said 4 words that changed my life. "Come stay with me." I moved into her spare bedroom the next morning. Mom never called to ask where I'd gone. Mrs. Asha made me tea and let me cry until I had nothing left. That evening, she sat across from me at her small kitchen table. "My cousin works at the Westbridge Medical Research Facility. They're looking for an intern. I think you'd be perfect. I barely finished my degree. You're brilliant, Lana. Let me send him your information." The application took me an hour to complete. I sent it off, expecting nothing. 5 minutes later, my email pinged. "Interview tomorrow, 9 a.m. Dr. Kiran Okonkwo." The research facility looked like something from a science fiction movie. Glass walls, modern equipment, researchers in white coats moving with purpose. I felt completely out of place in my thrift store blazer. Dr. Kiran met me in the lobby, a tall man with gray at his temples and sharp, intelligent eyes. The interview lasted 3 hours. He asked about my coursework, my thoughts on medical ethics, and my experience with data analysis. I answered honestly, even when I wasn't sure. At the end, he leaned back in his chair. "You have something most researchers lack. You understand what it means when research fails, when people are left behind." "I do," I whispered. "You start Monday." Entry-level researcher position. He slid a folder across the desk. I opened it and gasped. Their current project focused on early detection of the exact condition that nearly killed me. The first 3 months passed in a blur of learning. I absorbed everything: medical terminology, research protocols, statistical analysis methods. I stayed late every night, often being the last person to leave the lab. Dr. Kieran noticed. He started assigning me more complex tasks, trusting me with sensitive data. One evening, I was running comparisons on patient samples when something caught my attention. A pattern in the enzyme levels that others had dismissed as noise. I spent the entire night verifying my findings, cross-referencing with every database we had access to. By morning, I was certain. I presented my analysis to Dr. Kieran. His eyes widened as he reviewed my work. Lana, this is remarkable. These markers could allow us to detect the condition weeks earlier than current methods. He looked up at me, smiling broadly. This changes everything. The team confirmed my findings within a week. Dr. Kieran called me into his office. There's a medical conference next month. I want you to co-present our findings. It's a huge opportunity. The conference hall buzzed with hundreds of medical professionals. I stood backstage, reviewing my notes for the 10th time. My hand shook slightly, but I felt ready. This was my moment to prove that I belonged here, that I was more than the daughter they'd abandoned. Then I saw them. Mom and Tade stood near the investor section, dressed expensively, laughing with a group of business people. Mom looked radiant, proud, supportive, everything she'd never been for me. My stomach dropped. After my presentation, which went perfectly, I tried to slip away. But they'd seen me. Mom approached with Tade trailing behind. Lana, what are you doing here? Not pride, not curiosity, just irritation. I work here. I just presented our breakthrough research. She waved her hand dismissively. An investor standing nearby asked, This is your daughter? Mom laughed. Oh, that's just my daughter. She works here, barely. Entry-level stuff. The investor's eyes narrowed. He glanced at the program, then back at me. 20 minutes later, a man approached me at the refreshment table. Miss James, I'm Nathan Hayes. I actually listened to your presentation. It was extraordinary. His business card read, Senior Medical Investment Partner. We talked for an hour. He asked intelligent questions about my research, my goals, my vision for the future of early detection medicine. You have something special, Lana. The combination of technical skill and personal understanding. If you ever want to lead your own project, I'd be interested in discussing opportunities. From across the room, I saw Mom watching us. Her face had gone red. She marched over the moment Mr. Hayes stepped away. What do you think you're doing? Stealing our connections? Making us look bad? You're embarrassing this family, Lana. I didn't even know you'd be here, Mom. Everything is always about you, isn't it? Tate has real investors to impress, and you're over here playing scientist. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something shift inside me. I need to go. I walked away. For the first time in my life, I didn't apologize. 8 months passed. I published 3 papers. News outlets began covering our research breakthrough. A medical journal featured my photo alongside Dr. Kieran's, crediting us both for advancing early detection methods. My name appeared in articles, in citations, in conference programs. My family never called. Not once. I told myself I didn't care, but late at night, I'd scroll through Mom's social media. She posted constantly about Tate's business ventures, his meetings, and his potential. Never about me. It shouldn't have hurt anymore, but it did. Then Mr. Hayes called. Lana, I have a proposal. Can we meet for coffee? We met at a quiet cafe downtown. He slid a folder across the table. I've been following your work. I've also been doing research into medical deserts, areas with limited access to early diagnostic care. I want to fund something ambitious, something that could change thousands of lives. What kind of something? A specialized medical center, focused entirely on early diagnosis and treatment, state-of-the-art equipment, accessible pricing, comprehensive care. He paused. And I want your name on the building. I stared at him, unable to process the words. My name? Mr. Hayes. I'm 25 years old. I've been in research for less than a year. Exactly. Your story will inspire millions. A young woman abandoned before a life-saving surgery becomes a leading researcher and opens a facility to ensure others get the care she nearly died waiting for. He leaned forward. This isn't charity, Lana. This is an investment in someone with vision and purpose. The numbers in the proposal made my head spin. Millions in funding. A full medical staff. Equipment I'd only dreamed of accessing. Why me? Because you understand what happens when people are left behind by the system. By family. By circumstance. His expression softened. Do you want to make this a direct tribute to what you survived? I thought about that freezing hallway. The empty recovery room. The text message blamed me for my own medical emergency. I thought about every person who'd ever felt abandoned when they needed help most. My voice came out as a whisper. Yes. Construction began 6 months later. I stood at the groundbreaking ceremony, photographers snapping pictures as I signed documents. The sign read, Lana James Medical Center for Early Diagnosis. My hands shook as I held the golden shovel, surrounded by local officials and medical professionals who believed in this vision. My family still hadn't reached out. Not when the news broke. Not when my face appeared on the local news. Nothing. I'd stopped checking Mom's social media. Mrs. Asha stood beside me instead, crying happy tears. Dr. Kieran gave a speech about my dedication. Mr. Hayes talked about the center's potential impact. Then, as the ceremony ended, I saw her. Mom stood at the edge of the crowd, wearing an expensive dress I didn't recognize. She was smiling, waving, walking toward me like we'd never had a single problem. My security team moved to intercept, but I held up my hand. Sweetheart. Mom's voice carried across the construction site. This is amazing. I'm so proud of you. She reached for a hug. I stepped back. Her smile faltered slightly. Lana, we need to talk. We need your help. We sat in my temporary office, just Mom and me. Tate waited outside. She launched into her story without preamble. Tate's business is in trouble. Real trouble. The investors pulled out last month. There's debt, legal issues. We might lose everything. She reached for my hand. I moved it away. And you need money. We're family, Lana. Family comes first. You understand that, right? The irony was suffocating. I said nothing. She continued. Your father would have wanted you to help your brother. This medical center thing is wonderful, but Tate needs support right now. The medical center thing? You know what I mean. It's great, but it's not worth destroying the family over. I pulled out my laptop and opened a folder I'd been building for months. A private investigator had helped me gather information after the conference. Mom, do you know what happened to the business deal you abandoned me for? The one that was supposed to save the family. Her face paled slightly. That's not relevant. It was a scam. The investors were con artists. Tate lost everything you gave him within 3 months. Mom's mask finally cracked. That doesn't change anything. We need help now, and you have resources. She pulled out her phone, showing me documents. I want Tate listed as co-owner of your medical center. It's only fair. We raised you. You want my brother to co-own the hospital? He has business experience you lack. He can handle the financial side, and you could focus on the medical stuff. It makes sense. I stood up slowly. No. Excuse me. No, Mom. The answer is no. Tate isn't getting any part of his hospital. Neither are you. My voice stayed calm, which seemed to unsettle her more than yelling would have. She erupted. You ungrateful, selfish girl. After everything we did for you. We gave you a home, raised you, supported you. You left me alone before emergency surgery. You used my surgery money for Tate's scam. You gave away my bedroom. You never even called to check if I survived. Tate burst in, his face red. You think you're better than us now? We made you who you are. I pressed a button on my phone. Their voices played back, clear recordings of their threats from outside my office. Consider this legal notice. Leave my property immediately. The next week, posts started appearing online. Anonymous accounts claiming I'd abandoned my family, forgotten my roots, refused to help my struggling brother. Some included old photos of us together, twisted with captions about my alleged cruelty. Lana James built her career on lies about her surgery. Her family was there the whole time. Rich researcher refuses to help family who supported her education. She claims she was abandoned, but really she just hates her successful brother. Some people believe them. Comment sections filled with strangers calling me ungrateful, selfish, heartless. My assistant showed me the posts with worried eyes. I read through them, feeling sick. Then my phone rang. A journalist from a major news outlet. Ms. James, I'm working on a story about family dynamics and success narratives. I've seen posts about you. Would you like to comment? What kind of story? An honest one. But I need to hear your side directly. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes, but under one condition. I tell the complete truth, and you verify everything before publishing. The interview took place in the medical center's conference room. The journalist, Amanda Pierce, set up recording equipment and a camera. For 2 hours, I told her everything. The hospital hallway, the refused consent forms, coming home to my bedroom filled with boxes, the stolen surgery money, the years of choosing Tate over everything else. I didn't name Mom or Tate directly. I didn't have to. I just told the story exactly as it happened, letting the facts speak for themselves. Why come forward now? Amanda asked. Because they're trying to rewrite history. And because somewhere, someone else is being abandoned by their family right now. They need to know they can survive it. They can build something beautiful from that pain. The article was published 3 days later. The internet exploded. Within hours, my story was trending. News outlets picked it up. People shared their own stories of family betrayal and survival. The support was overwhelming. Then people started digging. They found Tate's failed business records. Mom's social media posts bragging about him while never mentioning me. The timeline of my surgery matches exactly with her conference attendance. My family became villains in the court of public opinion. I never asked for that, but I didn't stop it either. Mom showed up at my apartment at 6 in the morning, crying. Mrs. Asha answered the door, blocking her from entering. Please, I need to see Lana. I need to apologize. I came downstairs in my pajamas. Mom rushed forward, wrapping her arms around me. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I was wrong. I was so wrong about everything. Can you forgive me? She sobbed against my shoulder. Something fell off. Her phone was in her hand, pressed against my back, screen facing outward. In the hallway mirror's reflection, I saw it clearly. She was recording. She was filming this apology for sympathy, for social media, for her own redemption story. Not because she meant it. I pulled away mid-hug, stepping back slowly. Mom's eyes widened as she realized I'd noticed. Goodbye, Mom. Lana, wait! I closed the door. 2 hours later, I posted a simple message on my verified social media account. I will not be emotionally manipulated anymore. Healing isn't performance. It's about privacy, boundaries, and protecting your peace. Construction finished ahead of schedule. I spent weeks interviewing staff, reviewing equipment installations, ensuring every detail met our standards. The Lana James Medical Center was everything I'd envisioned, bright, welcoming, equipped with technology that could save lives. Opening day was scheduled for the first Saturday in June. Invitations went to medical professionals, community leaders, patients who participated in our preliminary programs. My assistant, worried about negative press, asked, "Should we send invitations to your family?" Absolutely not. But somehow, invitations with their names appeared in the system. A mistake by our event coordinator who'd pulled from an old contact list. I immediately had them canceled, their names removed from every list. Security received photos and clear instructions. These 2 people are not welcome. Under any circumstances, I should have known that wouldn't stop them. On opening day, as guests began arriving, I received a text from the head of security. They're here. At the front entrance. I walked to the entrance myself. News cameras lined the walkway, covering the grand opening. Mom and Tate stood at the security checkpoint, dressed formally, smiling for anyone who'd look. Mom was crying, theatrical, public tears. Please, I just want to celebrate my daughter's achievement. Is that so wrong? I'm her mother. She played to the cameras perfectly. My head of security, Marcus Williams, stood firm. Ma'am, you're not on the guest list. I need you to leave the property. This is cruel. Lana, please. Mom's voice carried across the crowd. Some guests slowed, watching the scene unfold. I stepped forward, and Marcus handed me a tablet. I pressed play on the recorded audio from my office. Mom and Tate demanding ownership, making threats, revealing their intentions, clearly. The nearby cameras caught it all. "This is who these people are," I said clearly. "They abandoned me before life-saving surgery. They're here for access, not reconciliation. Security, please escort them from the property." The cameras kept rolling as they were led away. Mom's performance crumbled into real anger. "You'll regret this, Lana. You'll regret turning your back on your family." The opening ceremony continued. Speeches were given, tours conducted, patients welcomed. I tried to focus on the positive, but the confrontation had shaken me. During the reception, a woman approached hesitantly. "Miss James, I need to speak with you privately. It's about your brother." We stepped into a quiet hallway. She introduced herself as Patricia O'Carroll, one of Tate's former employees. "I worked for him for 2 years. I left 6 months ago when I discovered what he was doing." She handed me a thick envelope, financial records, proof of fraud. "He stole money from investors, employees, even family friends. He used your mother's house as collateral for loans he never intended to repay." I opened the envelope, scanning the documents. Bank transfers, forged signatures, falsified reports. It was extensive. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because people are coming after him. Legal action is already starting. I thought you should know." She paused. "And because what he did to you was unforgivable. You deserve better." 3 weeks later, Tate's business collapsed completely. News broke about the fraud investigation. Police got involved. Investors filed lawsuits. Everything fell apart spectacularly and publicly. Mom's house, the house I grew up in, went into foreclosure because of Tate's debts. They lost everything. Social media, which had briefly sympathized with them after the opening day confrontation, turned harsh when the fraud details emerged. My phone rang at midnight. Mom's number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "We have nowhere to go, Lana. We're losing the house. We need help. Please." Her voice was different now. Not manipulative. Just desperate. "Where's Tate?" "With me. We're both here." I was silent for a long moment. The smart thing, the self-protective thing, was to say no and hang up. But I thought about the person I wanted to be, the values my medical center represented. "I'll think about it." I invited them to a meeting at the hospital 2 days later. They arrived looking smaller somehow, less sure of themselves. We sat in my office, me behind the desk, them in visitor chairs. "I'll help," I said. "But there are conditions. Non-negotiable conditions." I slid a document across the desk. "You must publicly retract every lie you spread about me. You must repay the people Tate defrauded. I'll provide resources for a payment plan. And you must both apologize without excuses or justifications." Mom's face turned red. "You want us to humiliate ourselves? I want you to take accountability. This is ridiculous. We're your family, Lana. You don't put conditions on helping family." She stood up. "I won't do this. I won't let you hold this over us." Tate remained seated. He stared at the document, his hands shaking slightly. "Mom, maybe we should." "No. We're leaving. Lana, you're going to regret this." Mom stormed out. Tate didn't follow. He looked up at me, and his eyes were red. "Can I talk to you? Just for a minute. Please." After Mom left, Tate broke down completely. I knew it was wrong. That night at the hospital, I knew we shouldn't leave you. But she kept saying the deal was more important, that you'd be fine, that we'd make it up to you later. Tears streamed down his face. I've been lying to myself for so long. He confessed everything. How Mom had manipulated him since childhood, always making him feel like his worth depended on business success. How she'd push him into increasingly risky ventures. How she convinced him that taking your surgery money was justified because Lana would understand. She made me believe my value was in making money, that nothing else mattered. He looked at me desperately. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want to change. I need help changing." I studied him carefully. Was this real, or another manipulation? But something in his expression seemed genuinely broken open. "If you're serious, I have a proposal. My foundation funds a rehabilitation and accountability program. It's for people rebuilding their lives after making serious mistakes. It includes therapy, financial counseling, and job training. I'll do it. It's not easy, Tate. It requires complete honesty and real work. Tate enrolled in the program the following week. He moved into a modest apartment funded by the foundation, began intensive therapy, and started working with financial counselors to address his debts. I received monthly progress reports but kept my distance emotionally. Mom called constantly, furious that I'd stolen her son. She left voicemails accusing me of manipulation, of turning Tate against her, of destroying the family. Each message was more unhinged than the last. Dr. Kieran found me in my office one evening, listening to the voicemails. You know you don't have to torture yourself with those. I keep thinking maybe one will be different. Maybe she'll actually understand what she did. Some people never do, Lana. And that's not your fault or your responsibility. He sat across from me. You've built something extraordinary here. Don't let her take that from you. That night, I listened to one final voicemail, Mom screaming that I'd ruined her life, that I was a terrible daughter, that I'd regret everything. I deleted it. Then I blocked her number permanently. The medical center's first year exceeded every projection. We'd served over 2,000 patients, identified hundreds of early-stage conditions, and saved lives that might have been lost to delayed diagnosis. Local news featured success stories. Medical journals requested case studies. Other cities reached out about replicating our model. One afternoon, a woman approached me in the lobby. She was holding her teenage son's hand, both of them smiling. Dr. James, I wanted to thank you. Because of this center, they caught my son's condition early. He just finished treatment. He's going to be okay. Her son nodded enthusiastically. The doctors said if we'd waited even a few more weeks, it would have been too late. I felt tears burning in my eyes. I'm so glad we could help. You saved my baby's life, the mother whispered. Thank you. After they left, I walked outside to get air. The afternoon sun hit the building's sign perfectly. Lana James Medical Center for Early Diagnosis. I stood there, remembering the scared girl on that stretcher, watching her mother walk away. She'd survived. She built this. Then I noticed someone waiting by the entrance. My chest tightened. Mom stood alone near the main doors. No expensive clothes this time. No cameras. No performance. She looked exhausted, older somehow. When she saw me, she didn't smile or wave. She just waited. I walked over slowly. We stood 3 feet apart, separated by everything that had happened. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said quietly. I know what I did. All of it. Leaving you at the hospital, taking your money, choosing Tate over you every single time. Her voice cracked. I've lost everything and I deserve to. But I needed you to know. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I studied her face, looking for manipulation. But she just looked broken and honest. Maybe the consequences had finally broken through her defenses. Maybe this was real. Thank you for saying that, I said softly. I mean it. Thank you. Hope flickered in her eyes. So, can we try again? Can we rebuild? I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of this moment. Mom, forgiveness isn't the same as access. I believe you're sorry. I genuinely hope you find healing and peace. But you no longer have a place in my life. That boundary is for my protection, and it's not negotiable. Lana, please. I wish you well. I really do. But this is goodbye. I walked back into the hospital, leaving her standing there. The automatic doors closed behind me. Inside, patients filled the waiting room. Staff moved with purpose. Lives were being saved. This building bore my name because I'd earned it, survived for it, built it from nothing. I turned pain into purpose, and that was enough.